What up? It's your man, Jimmy Chan. All right, let's talk about lab work. One. All right, so you guys are getting a treat here. You're gonna get the PDF and the video all at the same time, so that hopefully, if the PDF doesn't help, hopefully the video does. All right, so make sure that you go through and see if everything kind of makes sense to you as you're going. All right. I'm recording this outdoors, so you might hear people walking by, you might hear people driving by, and everything else. So just be forewarned, be patient with this, and be patient with me as well. And be patient with people who park on the wrong side of the road, facing the wrong way, and think that's okay. Anyways, all right, so the first one. So this says by factoring. And I did tell you guys in class that, hey, if you guys did it with complete squares or quadratic formula, it's okay. I'm not going to judge you on that, but I'm going to show it to you by factoring. All right. All right. So here we go. So since I'm telling you to solve by factoring, that means it's got to be a quadratic. If it's a quadratic, that means you would see like an x squared, all right, or a variable squared, just one variable squared, okay? So if you look through here, you're like, nothing is squared. Well, I understood, but what you can do on the right side is FOIL. So so that would be the first thing I do is FOIL the right side or double distribute the right side. So I'm going to get 2 minus 10x is equal to 3x squared plus 3x minus 7x minus 7. So I should combine like terms, minus 4x minus 7. All right, so since I see an x squared, it's on the right side. I want to move everything to the right side. So I'm going to subtract 2, add the 10x. So I'm going to have 0 is equal to 3x squared, add the 10x. So I'm going to have a plus 6x, minus 2, so I'll have a negative 9 or minus 9. So by factoring, it means that I have to do GCF first, which is a 3. So I got x squared minus 2x minus 3. Right? All right, cool. Now I got to factor that. So I could use the AC method, or you can do trial and error. All right. If I did the AC method, I'll do off to the side here, A times C. The A now is now 1 times C is negative 3, so I get a negative 3. My B is equal to negative 2. I'm sorry, positive 2. Mistake right here. That should be a positive 2. So B is going to be a positive 2. So I want to find out what two numbers multiply together that would give me a negative 3, but yet added together to give me positive 2. So those two numbers are going to be a positive 3 and a negative 1. Okay, if you multiply those two numbers, it gives me a negative 3, add them together, it gives me a positive 2. All right, so if I split the middle term, I'm going to have x squared plus 3x minus 1x minus 3. Okay, so again, I'm only focused on this because I already took the GCF out. I'm just focusing on that particular trinomial. All right, so now I'm going to split the term down the center. The GCF on the first group is just x, leaving me with x plus 3. GCF of the second group, because the third term is a negative, I will pull a negative 1, and that's going to leave me with x plus 3. And if you don't believe me, distribute this negative 1, and I bet you anything you'll get that back. Okay, so try that. All right, so what do I have in common? I have the x plus 3. What do I have left? I have the x minus 1 left, so that'll be my factors. So then I bring it over here. I got 0 is equal to 3 times x plus 3 times x minus 1. And then I got to set each factor equal to 0. So I got 3 equals 0. I got x plus 3 equals 0. And I got x minus 1 equals 0. All right. Well, 3 is never equal to 0, so ignore that. When I subtract 3 to both sides, I got x equals negative 3. And if I add 1 to both sides, I got x equals 1. So my answer is x is equal to negative 3 or 1. And that is going to be choice D. All right. Boom. Go. Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. All right. So this is what I mean by showing the choice and the answer. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2. All right. Number 2 gives me 16x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. So it wants me to use completing the square. Okay, great. So I gotta use completing the square. So first step is a has to equal to 1. Okay, so divide 16, divide 16, divide 16, divide 16. Awesome. So I got x squared minus 3 over 16x plus 1 over 16 equals 0. Is that right? Oh, there we go. All right. That worked better. All right. So step 2 is to move the old c, right? So just move it to the other side, to other side, all right? So that means now I'm going to subtract 1 over 16 to both sides. So I'm going to have x squared minus 3 over 16x is equal to negative 1 over 16. Well, since I just got rid of the old c, let's go ahead and go to step 3, which is find a new c. And add to both both sides. Okay? All right. So c is equal to b divided by 2 squared, which is equal to negative 3 over 16 divided by 2 squared. So, which is equal to negative 3 over 32 squared, which is equal to 9 over 1024. So that's why I got to add to both sides, 9 over 1024. Okay? Actually, let's do this. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see exactly what's going on there, where it was, and what I'm getting to here. All right, so what is step 4? Let's get a step 4 here. Step 4 is to factor the left side and add or subtract the right side. Okay, so the factor on the left side is going to be cake because it's already done for you. So this is going to be x minus 3 over 32. The right side, you're welcome to put that in your calculator. That's going to come out to be a negative 55 over 1024. All right, looks like I'm heading into a new page here. All right, so you guys are going to see this into a new page. Let me see if I can do something. If there's something else I can do here. Mm, moving everything up a little bit. All right, so I can just put in step 5 here. Running out of pens here. Let's see. So step 5 is to solve. Okay, so to solve this, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So when I take the square root of both sides, this square is going to go away. And on the right side, it's going to be a plus and minus the square root of negative 55 over 1024, right? That means I want to take the square root of negative 55 and then take the square root of 1024. But what is that going to equal to? Well, remember, square root of negative 55 is not a real number. So that means it's an imaginary number, all right? So what I'm actually going to have here is going to be plus or minus I square root of 55 over 32, okay? So what I'm actually going to have here is going to be, now I have x is equal to 3 over 32 plus or minus I square root of 55 over 32. So x is going to equal to, ooh, that x, creepy x. X is going to equal to 3 plus or minus I square root of 55 all over 32. And that is choice C. There we go. All right, that's choice C. All right. Okay, so that was number 2. Woo, got ways to go. So 3. All right, number 3 is giving you 4x squared plus 1 is equal to 3x. And this wants it as a quadratic uh, formula. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go 4x squared. I'm gonna subtract that 3x over, so it's minus 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. Great. So that means my a is equal to 4, my b is equal to negative 3, and my c is equal to 1. So I know it is, the quadratic form is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So here we go. X is equal to negative b, so negate b, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is going to be 9, minus 4 times a times c. So a is 4, c is 1, all over 2 times a. All right. So as I told you guys before, only put this part of the quadratic into your calculator. So I'm going to get 3 plus or minus the square root of -7 all over all over 8. All right. Well, square root of -7 is an imaginary number, so this is going to be x is equal to 3 plus or minus I square root of 7 all over 8. Okay, gotta make sure that this goes all the way across. All right, and that is going to be choice D. There we go. All right, on to 4. There we go. And 4 gives me the equation x minus the square root of 3x minus 2, and that's going to equal to 4. All right, so this is a radical equation. A radical equation, I want to get the radical by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do two things. I can either just move the x over to the other side, or I can move the 4 over to the left and the negative square root of 3x minus 2 over to the right. I'm just going to stick with moving the x to the right side. So I'm going to have a negative square root 3x minus 2 is equal to 4 minus x, because I subtract the x on both sides. I am now going to square both sides, because the opposite of square root is to square. So on the left side, when I square it, that negative becomes positive and the radical goes away. So I'm left with just the 3x minus 2. On the right side, I actually have to FOIL. So this is actually, how do I want to do this? There we go, to show you that I have the FOIL. So I'm actually going to get a 16 plus, oh, sorry, not plus, but minus 4x minus 4x plus x squared. Ooh, I have an x squared and an equal sign. So that means I have a quadratic. Okay. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. Let's go ahead and move the 3x, subtract the 3x to the other side, and add the 2 over and reorder everything. So I'm going to have a 0 is equal to x squared. I got to subtract the 3x, and I'm going to add the 2. There we go. You can go with the AC method, but when you do the AC method, you're going to have an x minus 9 and an x minus 2. So set each factor equal to 0. So I got x equals 9 and x equals 2. And if you remember, I'm going to always tell you with radicals, you should always, always, always check your solutions. Okay? And what I'm going to tell you is that this is going to get rejected. And x equals 9 is the only answer. And whenever you check, you always want to check with the original. So if you plug 9 in there, right? So 3 times 9 is 27, minus 2 is 25, square root of 25 is 5, 9 minus 5 is 4. Boom, check. 2, if you put 2 in there, 3 times 2 is 6, minus 2 is 4, square root of 4 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, not equal to 4. Okay, so that's the reason why they got rejected. So x is only equal to 9. So my answer is C. So here is my answer. Boom. There's my box. That up just a slight bit. There it is. All right. All right. So off to number 5. All right. So 5 is right there. So what I have is I'm going to have a 2x minus plus 1. 1/3 is equal to 3. Okay. So with this, so in order to think of this as, how would I put it this way? If I had a power of 1/3, how do I make that power to become to the first power? And the only way I can do that is to raise a power to a power. If I raise a power to a power, then I'm going to multiply their powers. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is take this and copy it and paste it. All right, so what I would have to do is actually raise both sides to the reciprocal power. So 1/3 reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1, which is just 3. So I'm going to raise both sides to the third power. And what's going to happen is that because I'm raising a power to a power, I have to multiply those two powers. Well, 1/3 times 3 is just going to be 1. So all I'm going to have left on the left side is a 2x plus 1, and that's going to equal to 27, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Right. So now I just solve it as a regular equation, two-step equation. I want to subtract the 1. So I have 2x equals 26. Divide the 2, so x equals 13. So 13 is choice A. There we go. Boom. All right. So off to number 6. All right. So 6. 6 says negative infinity, comma, 9 intersect with, it didn't use that, it used a square bracket, negative 2, comma, 12. All right, parentheses. So remember what I said before, right? Well, for the ones that were with me last semester, square brackets is the same as closed circles, which involves those inequalities. Where parentheses is kind of like an open circle, which involves this. So I always said the parentheses is places that we can't touch, right? We never physically touch. So like negative infinity, positive infinity, we don't ever touch. That's a for sure. However, if we actually touch it, then we have to use the square brackets. Okay, so this symbol right here is actually called an intersect. Okay, or intersection, meaning what's in common. Okay, so if you think about it, in our relationships, we're typically interested in each other because we have things in common. Those are our intersects. Okay, and the opposite of intersect is looks like a U, is exactly flipped, and it's called a union. So as we get to know each other and we decide to get married, that means we're going to have a union with each other. And when we have a union with each other, it means that I'm willing to take and deal with all of your baggage, and you are willing to take into consideration, compromise, and everything else, all of my baggage as well. So union would be not just the things that we have in common, but also everything that we don't have in common, we're going to deal with. Okay, so union would be everything that you have, including everything that I have. That would be a union. intersect is only things that we are in common with. So it's going to be a lot less than what we actually union with. Okay, so that would be the best way for me to describe what a union is versus an intersect. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to make it red. And I'm going to take this part here and I'm going to make this blue. And what I'm going to do is now draw a number line and actually draw those two out for you. So here's my line. And if I look at all the numbers, I got negative infinity. I have a -2. I have a 9. And I have a 12. Okay? All right. So let's look at the red. The red says that. So I have open circle. And I have an open circle. And this is going to be pointed all the way to infinity forever and ever. Okay, so that's what this means right here is what I drew in red. Okay, so in blue is that the square bracket -2 to 12 open bracket, right? Or parentheses, I should say. So this is going to be this, but closed. And let's see if I can get this right here. All right. Ooh, so close. Let's see if I can bring this down. Probably a smarter idea. There we go. And then connect it to. There we go. All right. So, oops. All right. So that's what that means. Okay. So question is, what do we have in common? Basically, what we have in common is everything from 2. What we have in common is everything from 2 all the way to 9, but not including 9. Okay. So this is what we have in common. All right. So that would be our intersect. So if I was to rewrite that as one common thing, let me see, actually, is it asking you to do that? It's not really asking me to do that. It's just saying, hey, which one of these is it? Nope, this does have you rewrite it. Okay, so this would be a square bracket, -2, comma, this is 9, but it doesn't touch 9, so it's parentheses. So square bracket, -2, comma, 9, parentheses, and that is my choice D. Boom, there we go. Perfect. There we go. All right, so on to 7. All right, so 7 wants you to find out what the solution is with 8 times x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 7 times x minus 2 plus x. Okay, so with inequalities, the way we would solve this is exactly how we would solve a regular equation. The only difference is that anytime we multiply or divide by negative, we have to flip the inequality. Okay, so first thing I would do is distribute. So I have 8x plus 24. That's greater than or equal to 7x minus 14 plus x. Okay, combine like terms, I have 8x plus 24 is greater than or equal to 8x minus 14. So I subtract x from both sides. 8x from both sides. Now the x's disappear. So I'm left with just 24 is greater than or equal to negative 14. So anytime the x disappears, we have to look at this statement right here. When we look at that statement, we got to ask ourselves, is it a true statement or a false statement, right? So is 24 really greater than or equal to negative 14? Yes, it is true. So this is a true statement. If it's a true statement, that means anything works. Everything and anything works. So that means my solution is going to be anything from negative infinity to positive infinity. And that would be choice. Where's my work? That's going to be choice B. There we go. Boom. A little bit. Perfect. Boom. Awesome. All right. Oh, power's running low. Better work a little faster. All right. 8. 8 says negative 26 is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 2. Less than or equal to negative 14. Okay. So with these, because I have two inequalities here, I have to, whenever I subtract the 2, I have to do it to both sides. All right. So that means I have a negative 28 is less than or equal to negative 4x, which is less than or equal to negative 16. Then I'm going to divide by negative 4. Now, be careful. Because I divided by negative 4, okay? See what happens. Ready? So this is going to be now a positive 7 is greater than or equal to x, which is greater than or equal to 4. Okay? So that means this is 4 less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 7. Because usually we write least to greatest. Okay? So 4 is usually the smaller number, all the way to 7. So if I was to graph this, if I had 4 and 7, it's less than or equal to, so it's going to be a square bracket, and a line. There we go. All right. And what choice is that again? We're at 8. And that is choice B. There we go. All right. Number 9. Number 9. All right. Number 9. Ooh, substitution elimination time. Okay. So number 9 wants 6x plus y is equal to negative 7. And it has 3x minus 5y is equal to negative 9. And it wants this in substitution. Okay, so I have to do this via substitution method. Okay, so I'm going to take this first one here, and I want to get y by itself. So one of the things I always say is, hey, look at the coefficients of the x's and y's and find out which one has a coefficient of 1 or negative 1 and then solve for that variable. So the top one has a y by itself, so that's why I would solve for y, try to get y by itself. So y is going to equal to negative 6x minus 7. All right, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into the second equation. So now I'm going to have 3x minus 5 times my y, which is negative 6x minus 7, and have that equal to negative 9. Okay, so if that's the case, I have 3x. I got to distribute this negative 5 through. It's going to be a plus 30x plus 35 is equal to negative 9. So I have 33x is equal to subtract subtract 35 over, so I'm going to have negative 44. So x is going to equal to negative 4/3. Perfect. So now I have my x. That means I have a solution. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that back into this right here, since the y is already by itself. And I always told you guys not to do that, but I'm going to trust that your math is so good that that part is correct. If you don't trust yourself, don't do it. So I have y is equal to negative 6 times negative 4/3 minus 7. Okay, so what is negative 6 times negative 4/3? Well, you're certainly welcome to plug that into the calculator, or it's top times top, bottom times bottom. So it's negative 6 times negative 4, which is positive 24, over 1 times 3. So it's 3. So 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I got y is equal to 8 minus 7. So y is equal to 1. So if that's the case, then my answer is that these two lines will cross each other at negative 4/3 comma 1, which is choice C. All right, to the end. Okay, to the end. There we go. All right, that was 9, so off to 10 we go. We're almost there. All right, 10. I have 9x minus 7y is equal to negative 61, and negative 3x minus 2y is equal to 16. And this wants to be addition, which is also known as elimination method. Okay? All right, perfect. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to multiply this by 3. Because I have a 9x, I can multiply the negative 3 by 3 and get a negative 9x. So positive 9x, negative 9x, x will go away. All right, so let me rewrite the top one. That's 9x minus 7y is equal to negative 61. And the one I distribute a 3 through will be a negative 9x minus 6y is equal to a 48. All right, so let's add those two together. That's why it's called addition. So the x goes away. I'm left with negative 13y is equal to negative 13. So y is equal to 1. All right, so now I can either do the addition or elimination method again to find x, but just eliminate the y, or I can just plug it back into one of the equations. So let's go ahead and plug it back into the top equation here, okay? So we're going to do that. I'm going to have 9x minus 7 times 1, and that's equal to negative 61. I probably would have plugged it into the second equation because obviously I don't have to deal with negative 61. So anyways, 9x minus 7 is equal to negative 61. Then I got to add the 7 over, so 9x is equal to, that would be what? Negative 54. So x is going to equal to negative 6. All right, so now I have a point of negative 6 comma 1, which is choice C. Uh-oh, there we are. All right, so there's my answer. Boom. And go. All right. So hopefully this helped you guys. If you guys have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me before 6 p.m. of course, and hope this helps in terms of explaining it via video. Please let me know if it does or not. If it does, I'll keep on doing it. If it doesn't, then hey, I'll just leave it alone. All right. Talk to you later. See ya.